Hi friends, it is one of your favorite garden teachers, Miss Rachel, and I just finished eating a clementine or tangerine, okay? And I was gonna put my peel and the seeds in the compost, and I figured that I would do that with you. So I keep my compost in the freezer, and that's because it can get a little stinky, right? It's food waste, food scraps that are old, and if we keep them out in the room temperature, they're gonna start getting a little smelly. So I keep mine in a brown paper bag and I put it in the freezer. So I figured we'd take a look at my compost because now is a great time to start composting, right? No, a lot of people aren't driving. A lot of other things that are hurting the earth are kind of taking a pause right now while we're all staying at home to be safe. So now is the time to do our part a little more. So I have my brown paper bag here. I'm gonna just dump it out on this cooking tray so that we can see really what's in here, okay? So we're gonna take a look. I see a lot of things that I recognize. I had bought Brussels sprouts a few weeks ago at the farmer's market and they were getting kind of old, so I just peeled the outer leaves off before cooking. I've been eating a lot of oranges. Remember, citrus in general gives you a lot of vitamin C, and so vitamin C helps boost our immune system. So I've been eating a lot of vitamin C to stay healthy. I also have this looks like my plantain peel. I've been eating a lot of plantains. I also have banana peels, okay? I've been eating some avocados, the end of my onion, okay? And all of these things can go in the compost. So when we think of compost, we want to think of our general rule is if it comes from the earth, it can go back from the earth. So when you think of cooking class, when we're putting our things in the compost bowl, we always try to identify if there are things that maybe don't follow this rule. One big thing, or one big group that can't be composted is dairy. So remember, dairy, where does dairy come from? What is dairy? Dairy is a food group and it includes milk. Milk comes from cows or goats or sheep or other animals. And that is not something we can grow in the garden. Can I go out and plant a cow seed in the garden? No. So unfortunately, all things that come from, all things that are made of dairy, so yogurt, cheese, ice cream, none of those things can go in our compost, okay? So let's explore my compost a little more. I just put something in here. Oh, here. So another thing that people can compost that we forget about are coffee grounds, but we can also compost the coffee filters as well, which is a pretty exciting thing because coffee grounds can be a little messy when you're taking them out of the coffee pot, but this works really well because you can just take the filter out with it, okay? Let's see, I'm trying to find one specific ingredient that I just put in here. Let's see. Oh, another thing that may be a little different is this, okay? It's an eggshell. So again, we normally follow if it comes from the earth, it can go back from the earth. But we can compost eggshells. Eggshells are actually really good for our compost, especially if we're doing vermicompost. So vermicompost is worm compost. We have them in the classroom, in the cooking classroom at Jackson. And eggshells are really good. They add nutrients to our soil and our compost. But for our worms are doing a lot of work for us. They're eating a lot of soft, juicy fruits and vegetables. But they have something called a gizzard. So it's something inside their body that grinds up their food. So sometimes they need things like eggshells to help them grind down that food. So if you're putting your eggshell in the vermicompost, it's probably a good idea to crunch it up as much as possible. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's the other thing. Paper towel. Okay, so I use this paper towel to clean up some jam that I spilled. But this paper towel can also go in the compost because what are paper towels made out of? Trees, paper, right? So paper towels, napkins, all those types of things can go in the compost. I would say for the most part, try to avoid if it's something really oily or if you used it, if you used it with something really messy that had a lot of oil in it. Let's see. Another thing you can put in your compost is your avocado pit. Okay, this is actually another really great thing for your vermicompost. I am not this dedicated of a composter, but I know some people who take these avocado pits and grate them on our graters, and then they put them in the worm bin because, again, really great for the worms to have. Okay, the thing that I am looking for that I cannot find is hair. So I brushed my hair last night and then took my hair out of the hairbrush and put it in my compost. That, again, seems a little maybe not doesn't follow the rule. If it comes from the earth, it goes back to the earth. But human hair, dog hair, cat hair, all different types of animal hair is actually something that easily biodegrades and we can put in our compost. Let's see, if you're putting your compost in the green bin, so like I do, I have a green bin in the alley that I put in all my compost. I actually just take it out of the freezer in the brown paper bag and bring it out to the green bin. Since I'm doing the green bin, I could actually compost more things than I am. I could compost chicken bones, I could compost meat, I could compost those really oily paper towels. And that's because that compost is being taken somewhere else. It's being taken to a facility where it is ground down, it's put in a hot machine, and it's allowed to break down a little faster. When we compost at school, we don't want to include those things because we're just putting it in a pile. And while we are doing hot compost, which is a type of composting, we aren't getting it, we're not processing in that way, we're not grinding it down, and we're not getting it as hot as they are in those machines. So we don't want to really include those things. So if you have a backyard pile that you're doing, I would not include chicken bones or meat or really oily things. Also, meat, chicken bones, those are great things that will attract rodents or garden friends to your compost pile, which for the most part people don't want. But yeah, so again, I keep my compost in the freezer. That allows it to not get stinky, and the brown paper bag is made out of trees, so that can be composted as well. So I just put the whole mess, take it from my freezer on Wednesdays and put it outside in my green bin to go off to the facility. And again, this is really great because if I'm putting this in the compost, it's not going in the landfill. And when things go in the landfill, when we throw things away, remember there really isn't an away. It's going somewhere. It's going in the ocean, it's going into space, it's going into a landfill where it's just sitting, okay? So, and it won't break down for a really long time. When we add things to the compost, it's creating really nutritious, wonderful soil for our gardens or the world. So at school, when we make our compost, we're using it on ornamentals, okay? So we're not allowed to use it on our food. That's a rule for Pasadena Unified School District, but we do use it on our ornamentals. So all the things in the garden that we don't eat, we're using the compost in that. And it's making them really beautiful, and it's really great for our gardens. So I hope you have fun composting, or you've learned a little bit more about composting in cooking class. When I ask you what can be composted and what cannot, you'll know the answers. So have fun, happy composting, read your books, do your jumping jacks, be a brave taster, eat your veggies. Bye, friends.